Well, welcome everyone. We're here for another live stream here, although this one is going to be abbreviated. I'm just going to use this moment to make a few announcements more than anything, because I have already posted today's lecture in your announcement board within Blackboard. So please know that we're just going to have an abbreviated session here because this is already available to you. Alright, so let's see, we have two people. Please go ahead and check in and give me a quick shout out, a quick hello, so I know who's here. Janine, weren't you just in class at 11:30 or something like that? I think so. Yeah, I'm doing great. Was that you that was in that class earlier today? I'm not even sure. Who else is here? That's okay with me. That's okay with me. I'll tell you, that was an awesome chat discussion this afternoon, don't you think? Jennifer, weren't you there too? Funny. Nice to have you back. Oh, wow. Amazing. Who else is on here? Let me see who else is here at 2:05 at the social environment class. Jennifer and Janine, I'm glad to see you here. Was there something in particular that you wanted to cover here in this afternoon class? Denise, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm feeling much better, although I'm getting a little bit tired of people complaining to like deans and chairs about confusion with the class when I don't know what else to do. I thought I've been pretty clear with in the announcements and the syllabus and in the videos exactly when we meet, what time we meet, when papers are due. I don't know how else to make it any more clear. So if any of you can help me on that, I'd appreciate it. But it's pretty tough to get a text message from your boss and saying that you haven't done all these things when in fact you have. As a matter of fact, hey Jamie, what's going on? But I do want to just discuss this a little bit. Let a couple more people get on. Okay. Okay, Jamie, that's a legitimate question. Here's what you're doing. All right, now I'm going to just let you know that you're going to go watch the video that I posted in the class. Okay, I posted in the announcement because we just covered this entirely in that particular class, but I'll answer it here. Okay, because I'm not going to cover the theories, because the theories you have available if you go into the announcement board and just watch the video from earlier today. And if you can't find it there, just go to, no, it's okay, I'm going to explain it to you. But if you can't find it there, then just go to my YouTube channel and just type in Social Environment 929, and it's also there. But I'll answer that question. The one thing, this is not for you. This is for everybody in general. I think that if you all are using the WhatsApp discussion board, you got to quit. Because while you're using that, you're confusing one another, and in confusing one another, you're creating all kinds of nightmares for me, and I'm just not going to die and have a stroke over things that I'm covering, in terms of on the discussion board, in the announcements. I'm not going to die over it. So let's just say get off WhatsApp and ask questions of this type. This is a legitimate type of question. Asking me when is stuff due, I don't know how to say it, but it's due in accordance to what I've said in the announcements and on the syllabus. I don't know what else to say, and I put them in the videos. For example, this week we have the video, and next week the assignment's due. So let me talk about that assignment, okay? What I want you to do is essentially, I want you to read a book, an autobiography or a biography. It could be about someone who's famous or someone who's not famous. Someone who rose up out of the depths of hell, or someone who was a criminal offender and no longer is a criminal offender. It doesn't matter to me, but I want you to read some kind of story about a person, all right? But when you read the story, what I'm really interested in is when you go to write your paper, I don't want you to recapitulate the story for me. I don't want you to describe the story. What I want you to do is analyze the story using social environment concepts. And we have plenty of concepts. One of the most important things that you have hold on a second, I'm getting a piece of paper here. One of the most important things that you have is the, hey Roy 405, you have that video that says, who am I? It's the short one, it's not the long one, it's the one that's like 4 or 5 minutes long, okay? And hey Michelle, what's happening? And what you're going to do is I want you to watch that video, all right? Because that video has this picture in it, all right? If you remember it, okay? It has this picture where you have the societal institutions, shape the opportunity structure, shape networks, shape social groups, etc. And here's the interactive context in which we interact, all right? Now there are concepts inside that video that you can use, okay? So when we're looking at an autobiography, for example, I have an autobiography, right? It's called Dear Mom, and even though someone asks if they can do it, I guess it's okay if you can use my book for this assignment, but I actually have a major assignment for you later that's going to require that particular book. But let's just say you're going to do that, all right? And you want to discuss something like, I don't know, the relationship between childhood trauma and, I don't know, success, the American dream. And what you would see is you would basically take a look at what was the root of the childhood trauma. Well, you'd say, you know, institutionally, Sean's mother, you wouldn't even say Sean's mother. Here's how you do it. You'd say something to the effect that Marx, and that's how you start the paper. And I talk about this in How to Write a Great Paper. So watch that video too. All right. You start off with saying Marx, right? 1851. Argued, what did he argue? He argued that social class division was the root of, I don't know, childhood trauma, was the root of, no, let me say something else, is the root of social decay, social alienation, all right? So you start off a sentence like that. You start your paper off with a sentence like that. But what I'm looking for are those first 3 words. Marx, 1851, argued. Right? Hey, Jamie. Oh, wait, didn't I? Okay. That's okay. I'm going to tell you how to put it together. And so you write your 4 or 5 sentences, and you make them conceptual like that, right? Instead of describing Sean grew up in East Toledo and he got beaten by his mother. Instead, I don't need that. I need you to come up with something conceptual. Marx argued that social class division was the root of social alienation, right? And then essentially alienation occurs when, and then you write a sentence about that. Then what you're going to do in the last sentence of your first paragraph is you're going to say something like this. No, you're going to say this. Say it exactly this way, as a matter of fact. This paper is, comma, therefore, comma, designed to analyze, and this is in that video, How to Write a Great Paper. This paper is therefore designed to analyze the relationship between what? Okay, now you're going to put down an independent variable and a dependent variable. Independent variable is the one that causes an outcome. The dependent variable is the outcome of interest, okay? So it's designed to analyze the relationship between alienation, or we can say social class division, alienation, and what would be a good dependent variable? And what would I put down? And the challenges of living out the American dream. Or you could say intergenerational mobility, right? So what this does is it gives it a conceptual basis for you to analyze, all right? And that conceptual basis for your analysis is really the critical thing that I'm looking for. And then what you're going to do is you start out by writing the word introduction at the beginning of your paper, right? Introduction. This is your introduction. Marx argued that blank, okay? Then, after you get done with that, and as you sign in, everybody, as you jump in, just tell me that you're here. So I see there are 8 people here, so I should have 8 different names up here. And yes, Denise, I'm feeling better. Not great, but I feel much, much better. All right. So for you, Jamie, what we're doing here is we're writing a conceptual introduction. All right. And so we know that when you write the paper, you're going to talk about social class. You're going to talk about alienation. Hi, Natalie. Nice seeing you. We're going to talk about social class, how it creates alienation, and then we'll talk about intergenerational mobility. That is moving up in the social ladder in terms of economics, right? Okay, because I was able to do it, but how did I do it? Because I came from an alienated background. So the question is, how do you overcome alienation? And then that gives you something to analyze. The next section that you're going to write, and this is all in that video. I mean, you can maybe I'll just post it in the classroom again. But the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to write a background section. Now, in this part, you can talk about trends that are taking place in society. You can talk about the history of a topic. And in this case, because you're analyzing since you're analyzing a biography, hold on a second. Hey, I'm in the middle of class. Can I call you right back in like 15 minutes? Oops. And so, hey Natalie. So, what was I saying? Let me get my head back together on this. Okay, so in the background, Jesus, sorry. In the background, you can talk about the key parts of the story that tell us something about alienation, that talk about social class and the American dream. Okay, that's where you describe the book. Next, you go into the theory. Now, for this class, you're going to have conflict theory, and it's all in the other video. You're going to have conflict theory. I might as well write it down since I'm here. Conflict theory. Hey, John. You're going to have, look these up too. Functionalist theory. Then you're going to have symbolic interactionism. And then the other theories I want you to look up are world systems theory, dependency theory, and the last one is modernization theory. These are more global. The last three are global. Conflict theory is a big theory. Symbolic interactions they're called grand theories, and so is functionalism. It's a grand theory. Then what you're going to do is you're going to funnel it. World systems theory is kind of a grand theory too, but dependency theory is a theory that's based upon conflict, the conflict model, and modernization is based upon the functionalist school. So what you're going to do is you're going to look those theories up, and then in your theory section you put the heading there, theory, right? So you have introduction, background, theory. Okay, Natalie, here's what you're going to do, right? You're going to pick the theory or the theories that best explain your interpretation of the book. And then what I want you to do is, if you're talking about alienation and social mobility, right, or living the American dream or what have you, you need to find some kind of data to support it, okay, to show that, you know, social class does have an impact on how people achieve the American dream and whether they can or not. So you got to figure out what that data looks like, because you're building an argument from the very beginning. If you notice, what I'm saying is everything is around social class division, alienation, and the American dream. I've aligned the direction of my argument, right? I didn't write, I've written 4 books this year, and it's only because this writing style, it allows you to organize your thoughts quickly, and that way you can move forward pretty easily. Okay, the next section, after data, and you put the word data in there, because if you put the word data in there, you put the word theory, that means in that section, that's what you're talking about. And it keeps you focused and it keeps you aligned. The next section is the analysis. In other words, how does the theory explain the data, right? Now, this is very hard to do, so don't get me wrong. I make it sound easy, but this is very hard. This is very hard to do. Good. I'm glad you're writing it down, right? So with the analysis section, you're saying, you know, although Sean was able to enjoy the American dream and move up from one social class to another, there were some hidden injuries of class, right? And in those hidden injuries, there was questions of esteem, you know, confidence, whether or not his rise was fraudulent, whether it was deserved. So while other people who have wealth started at that end are confident that they deserve it. Those who come from the bottom and move their way up, they often feel status incongruity. And now you don't know this because you haven't looked it up, but this is an analysis of what the book means. And then you just draw a conclusion, and then you write the word conclusion. So really, that's exactly what you're doing, right? You're writing an introduction, conceptual introduction, not a descriptive introduction. Just like the one that I posted up here, Marx argued that social class division was the root of social isolation. Actually, I wouldn't say, I'd just say the root of alienation. All right? And then you'd write 2 or 3 more sentences elaborating on the idea of alienation and then tie it back into the American dream. So in doing that, what you're doing is you're making a conceptual paper. You're making an analytical paper. Your first 2 papers, I don't know how to put it to you. I mean, you're all worried about grades. Don't worry about those grades, okay? Those were assignments that were really designed just to get you to think about yourself in your analysis. So as we move forward through the class, even though you're analyzing someone else's biography here, now you can put yourself in it, right? So those first 2 assignments really were just thought exercises to kind of free you up from our traditional way of thinking about classes and stuff like that. I want this class to be about you. That's why I chose a biography here, right? So by choosing an autobiography or a biography, that by definition allows you the opportunity to explore real life, but apply the concepts to those real life situations. That way, you're getting practice on how to critically assess and how to critically think about the application of concepts from any class to your life. That's really what I want, is I want you to build your life up. And that's the best way that I can think of how to do it. All right? So that's really what I want you to do with this assignment. It is not a major complicated assignment at all. It's just you're trying to get used to a different way of writing. And the best way for me to describe this style of writing is it is more formal. It's an academic style of writing, but it's really specifically designed to help you streamline and to focus and organize your ideas. Because one of the things that will drive me crazy is when you're all over the place. We write, and do not do this from the top of your head, okay? When you read through the book, take your little notes, right? I would study those theories first, right? I would study those theories first. Maybe write a paragraph on each of them for your own self. And then as you're reading the book, then say, oh yeah, this reminds me of what I read about functionalism. And then you focus on that. Oh, this reminds me of conflict theory. Right? Okay. So what you're doing, you have the models in your head, but then as you're reading, you can apply those ideas to the reading. All right? And then later you're going to pull it together and you're going to analyze it. It's not something that I want to be terribly difficult for you. I know it is. I know it's hard because I'm asking you to do something you haven't done before. And this real stringent, organized way of writing, it's a masterpiece. And I didn't create it. It took me 17 years to figure this out. But it is very powerful. So if you go to the video shows you how to chunk, that is just brainstorm and throw ideas on a piece of paper, how to take those ideas and then organize them into like a flow chart. You watch the video. And then after the flow chart, you can transform the flow chart into an outline and then let the outline write the paper for you. So, a lot of times we look at a blank piece of paper and it makes us, we say, oh my God, this is so hard, I don't even know where to start. No, you start easy. The name of an author, Marx, 1851, argued. What did he argue? And that's what you do. Durkheim, 1951, argued. Goffman, 1967, argued. And that's going to set the stage for your conceptual writing. That's a very easy way to start a very complex paper. But it's not complex at all. Because the perspective that you use will write itself. Once you create that outline writes the paper for you. I never write anything. I let the words find the page, but the outline is what always, for me, writes the paper, right? So I hope that makes sense as far as that assignment. Now let me reiterate, these live streams are no longer mandatory at the time that we do them, because I wasn't even going to do this, but I had a complaint to the chair, so I said I better go ahead and address this. And so what's going to happen is next week you have the assignment, then the following week you're going to have another lecture that's going to be put into the announcement board. I don't want you to lose time in your live classes because there's going to be some conflicts. I don't want you to lose time in your live classes and then struggle around trying to turn around and then make it to this live stream, right? Because I have the ability, because this is an asynchronous class, remember. So since it's asynchronous, I can put videos in anytime during the week that I want to, and then you watch them at that point in time. We don't have to, we're not pigeonholed to this particular time every week. I'll still do it like an announcement like this. I'll do the live stream in my class that meets at, hold on a second, what time does that meet? I'll do the live stream, and if you want to hop in for this particular class for that live stream, you can. And that class meets at 11:15 on Tuesdays. So if you want to jump in on that, like a few of you did, that's perfectly fine, because the material is going to be exactly the same. All right, it's going to be the exact same. And then all I'm going to do is for this class right here, the one that we're interacting in now, just make a quick announcement. Do you have any specific questions? And I'll answer them. And then I'll go ahead and put this into the announcement board too. So I have eliminated the mandatoriness of meeting at the time in which the class meets, but it is going to be available to you in the announcement board. By the way, read the announcements from Sunday. Last Sunday I explained everything that you need to know about the course. Every announcement, it tells you something about the course. So please read the syllabus, read the announcements, and watch these videos. But don't complain that you're confused when all the information is right there at your fingertips. Well, you can complain if you want to, all right? But I will not be responding to questions that can be found directly in the syllabus or in the announcements or on video. Now, if after you look at all three of those sources, you have a question like you did here, well, that's legitimate, that's fine, okay, because you don't know how to do this paper yet. So I don't mind answering that type of question, but don't ask me when to do. You want my head to blow up? I'm serious. It'll just go off to the moon. Tuesday, 11:59 p.m. is when it's due. Every other week. That's as simple as I can make it. I can't make it any simpler. And then the opposite week is when we have this. What else can I do? So, I mean, I don't know what else to say. But if there's confusion with like the nature of the content, yeah, then I want you to ask that. All right, because that's a different type of question. That is something where you're stretching and you're reaching and you're trying to make sense of it, and therefore I'll answer it that way, because that's the growth part. The growth part I know mine, but asking me something that I've repeated over and over again makes my head explode. And I'm serious. I'm not. I mean, I was bedridden last week because my blood pressure was so high because I'm answering the same question hundreds of times. When's it due? I'm confused. Right? What's the assignment? That's why you have the syllabus. It's so that you can answer those questions. And that's why I make announcements to answer those questions. And that's why, you know, in the videos, I try to answer those questions. But then you ask me that question, and I'm just like, my head just like spins around like the Exorcist. I come back to the other side, and I hang upside down from the ceiling fan, screaming, "It ain't my day." I can't do it. I'm not gonna risk my health. Yep. I am, Janine. I feel much better. I feel much better. Are there any other specific questions that you might have pertaining to the assignment, or something of that nature? I know someone asked about term papers. The term paper's way later. Let's not worry about that now. Maybe in a couple weeks we can talk about that. Don't ask about that stuff. Let's get there. There's a process to get you from here to that point. Okay? Any other questions that I can answer? And hey, you all, thank you for hopping on. I do appreciate that. But the actual explanations of, I did more with conflict theory, functionalism, and symbolic interactionism. I didn't talk about world systems, dependency, or modernization, but it's all in that video. The movie, we'll talk about it next week. Don't worry about that either. All right? Just stay with where I'm going. I'll announce the movie next week. Okay? You'll love it. That I know for a fact. You will love it. Is anybody here from Colombia? Because if you're from Colombia, you're going to absolutely love this particular movie, especially if you're from Bogota. All right? Anybody here from? So because I don't want to cause any kind of confusion, because I think this stuff is pretty straightforward and simple, right? Because I don't know how else to do it. Every other week is this. Every other week is this, and it's been spelled out in numerous places, simplified form. I don't want to introduce any more confusions. But you, Janine, will love the movie. It's one of my favorites. And I'll post it in the announcement board next week, and then you'll have the time to watch it, and then you'll have time to watch it and then do the analysis. And by the way, just to talk about that, the movie that you're going to watch, this discussion that we just had right now is going to be perfect for you to analyze the movie too, right? It's the exact same process. Instead of reading a book, you're going to see the movie, and you're going to do the same kind of preparation, the same type of work to do that, okay? So actually, even though I wasn't ready to talk about it, you're going to approach it with the same mindset. It's my cousin Scam Likely. I don't know why Scam Likely is always calling me. It gets on my nerves. You know, that's if it wasn't for Scam Likely, my phone would never ring. So, anyhow, just entertaining myself. I'll be in town next week. It is possible I might go to campus. I have to pick up some things. If you're on campus, let me know. I could say hello or something like that. And then I'll be leaving next Wednesday. So I'll be around Monday and Tuesday. So if you're around, that's cool. Any other questions? If not, I'm going to go ahead and tune out so that you can watch the video inside of the class. And this was a half hour. Look at that. Dang. So I appreciate you showing up. I appreciate you coming in. If there are no more questions, I'm just going to wish you a beautiful 2 weeks. And we're going to keep moving things forward. But keep it simple. I am not the complex teacher that these WhatsApp chats are making it sound like. It's not. I'm not complicated. It's not complicated at all, right? So just keep it simple. And I know that you're going to struggle with this assignment. I know you are. So accept it, work through it, and do your best. Then I'll take it from there. Okay? All right, everybody. You all have a great week. I'll keep watching the announcement board, and I'll put stuff in there. And in the meantime, be good to yourself. Find your greatness. Oh, one more thing. I'm running investment seminars on Monday and Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. on Zoom. The link is inside of the announcements, and I really hope that you all decide to join me on those, because I take it as a personal mission to make sure that my students, when they come out, they're at least informed on how to build their financial life, because I feel like we don't educate anybody on that at all. So I take it as a personal mission to provide you with the education and the opportunity, because my partner Annette will talk to you directly as far as how to set up investments and things of that nature if you want to. And that's not available just to you. That's available to you. That's available to your friends. That's available to your family, your cousins, your neighbor. I don't care. It's available to everybody, because we all need to create some kind of sense of financial stability, especially as the world is changing right from underneath our feet. I hope that's okay with you. Again, that's Monday and Thursday at 7:30. I appreciate you showing up here today. Be good to yourself. Be great. I'm signing off. Have a great